Hello and welcome to this morning's Liverpool news roundup here on Anfield Agenda after a weekend which seen the Reds return to winning action, which was just so nice to see. Liverpool, of course, did beat Aston Villa 2 goals to nil on Saturday evening. Myself, Craig, and Chris will be going through that in so much more detail later on. We're recording the podcast, that'll be out around 4 or 5 pm, so please do keep an eye out for that one later. This morning, though, we have some news around the future of Federico Chiesa. We've got a big money offer from Saudi Arabia for Mohamed Salah. We've got a few quotes from Trent around the game tomorrow evening, and generally just have a little chat about Liverpool getting back to winning ways, some of the implications from the game the other night, and just my thoughts on the game in general. So please do hit the subscribe button if you're new, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and let's get into it. First up then this morning, Fabrizio Romano was speaking about the future of Federico Chiesa on the Here We Go podcast, and he had this to say. It's been a strange start to the season for Chiesa, also because at the very beginning of the summer window, the plan was to leave, and then everything changed several times with Arne Slot and with the management. The desire of Federico Chiesa is to finish the season at Liverpool and then assess the situation in the summer. When Chiesa goes public and says, I want to stay here, I want to compete for my spot, it's the reality. Chiesa wants to continue with Liverpool. Then, obviously, he wants to play. He needs to play. Otherwise, in January, I would not be surprised if Italian clubs return to the table and try again to get Chiesa from Liverpool. They might try, but at the moment, the desire of Liverpool and Chiesa is to continue together. I don't think it's going to be an easy move in January, but interest remains, and we have to follow the game time in the next 2 months. So, the important parts from that quote then to me would be the fact that it looked like he was going to leave in the summer until a change of heart happened, which probably happened just due to lack of numbers up front, to be honest. I think the club probably would have signed a winger along with Ekitike and Isak as well. Maybe got rid of Chiesa because the manager just doesn't really seem to fancy him for whatever reason. Like, I love him, you love him. He's played decent when he has played. Struggles with injuries, of course, and just getting his general fitness level up. But I think every single one of us wants Chiesa to be playing, especially at the minute when we're not being at our best, and he has been scoring goals when he's come on. So look, it is a weird one. Like, all the fans seem to love him, the manager doesn't seem to fancy him, but I think what Romano said here is probably true. I think Italian clubs would very much be interested in signing him in January. We know Italian clubs love to like do a 6 month loan with an option to buy or something like that. They never generally come in with too much money for players like this. They just want loan after loan after loan, and then maybe an option to buy for a cheap fee as well. So wouldn't be surprised at all if they come sniffing. I don't think the club would let him go in January unless they had someone like an Antoine Semenyo lined up to come in, because we're already short on numbers in that area of the pitch. We all kind of knew he probably would leave in the summer because, like we said, the manager doesn't seem to fancy him. But let's hope he doesn't leave in January anyway, because, like I said, he has been good when he's played. And let's hope he can just break into the manager's thoughts. But I'm not optimistic on it. I'm optimistic on him playing well, but I think his long term future probably does lie away from Anfield, unfortunately. We have another update this morning then around the future of another attacker at the club. So Mohamed Salah has apparently received a contract offer worth a record shattering €150 million per year from an unnamed Saudi Pro League club to leave Liverpool next summer. And that comes from TBR Football, who wouldn't exactly be tier one in terms of credibility, but this is a story that just hasn't and probably will not ever go away. Since the Saudi Pro League started spending huge money, Mohamed Salah has seemed like the absolute crown jewel that the league wants. They want him in that league. It probably will happen at some point. I don't think it's anytime soon, in all honesty. Like, Salah hasn't been quite at the level we know he can be this season, but he's by no means finished. He's by no means ready to set sail and leave Europe and go join the Saudi Pro League. Like, he's too good for that. He's still chasing down records and he still wants to play at the very top. So, even if Liverpool did decide to get rid of him, I don't think he'd go to the Saudi Pro League just yet. I think he'd end up somewhere like a PSG or someone like that. Like, and not to say that we're going to get rid of him, but you know what I mean? Like, I think he is just above that league, like, isn't he? Like, he's just too good to be playing in the Saudi Pro League at the current moment. Maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, but next summer I can't really see it, to be honest. So, do let me know what you think on that one. I've absolutely no doubt that he's being offered these staggering amounts of money. That is 100% believable. I think they, like I said, they will want to do everything in their power to entice Mohamed Salah to join the Saudi Pro League. They won't particularly care which club he's at either. They just want him in that league for the marketing, just the eyes, the attention, everything. So fully believe that part, but I don't think that we're going to see Mohamed Salah moving to the Saudi Pro League anytime soon. Maybe at the end of his contract, to be fair, but I don't think he's going to leave Liverpool early to move to the Saudi Pro League. Trent Alexander-Arnold then has been doing an interview ahead of the Liverpool versus Real Madrid game in the Champions League tomorrow evening, which I can't wait. To be honest, like I made the prediction the other day that we're going to win all three of these games, so Villa, Madrid, and City, and I'm still backing it. I still think we're going to pull off an absolute masterclass tomorrow evening somehow. I don't know how, I don't know why. I feel like we're going to just rip them to shreds. We mightn't win by too many goals, but I could see like a 3-2, maybe a 4-2, just a crazy high scoring game. And I'm really looking forward to that one. So, yeah, let's hope we can pull that one off. But anyway, Trent has been saying if I was to score against Liverpool, I wouldn't celebrate, to be honest. And I would like to think he's being honest there because I think if Trent scored at Anfield against Liverpool and celebrated, could you imagine the pandemonium in the crowd? Like, the crowd is going to be on his back so much anyway. Could you imagine if he just started doing a knee slide in front of the cop or something? He would not leave that pitch alive. Like, he would be absolutely slaughtered by the crowd. And look, we will joke about it, obviously. Like, people are going to boom and whatnot. And he is a rat, isn't he? He's a snake. He's a rat, whatever word you want to use. But I'm sure, like, I'm sure he still does have some love for the club. I don't expect the fans to give him a warm welcome, as they shouldn't, because he's the enemy now ultimately. But yeah, I wouldn't expect him to celebrate in all honesty. Like, I don't think there's any bitterness from his side towards Liverpool. So yeah, not a surprise on this one that he said he wouldn't celebrate. But yeah, just could you imagine if he did? Could you imagine the absolute meltdown if he just started doing knee slides and giving it to the crowd? Yeah, it wouldn't go down too well, would it? I wanted to finish up this morning's video then just with some of my thoughts around the Villa game. I thought we looked much, much better. I thought the press was there again. We looked like our old selves, and part of that, to be fair, is the fact that we played a lot of our players from last season. Like, we went back to that midfield of McAllister, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, and I thought Gravenberch and Szoboszlai in particular were very good. McAllister looked a little bit better than he did, to be fair. Like, he's been building up his fitness again. He hasn't looked quite as good this season as he usually is, and it's good to see that we got the results. Whether I'd stick with that against Madrid or not is another issue, but there's a lot of discourse around, is that the solution to Liverpool's problems? Like, is it just going back to the absolute basics? Like, get Robertson in for Kirkes, keep Bradley on the right even when Frimpong comes back, keep that midfield of McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch. But then, can you really drop Florian Wirtz? And then even up front, like Ekitike just looks so much better than Alexander Isak. Like, the link-up play in particular, I was very, very impressed with Ekitike against Villa and in other games as well, to be fair. But just the little flicks, the back heels, the keeping the ball, the dropping deep to get the ball and linking up play. Like, he's so good. He has shades of Bobby Firmino really, and of course, like, Alexander Isak is still kind of almost at the tail end of his pre-season, and then he had this groin injury, so we haven't seen the best of him yet. But when he comes back, he has to fight for that spot because Ekitike is just quite simply miles ahead of him at this point, and I think if you were to start Isak ahead of Ekitike when he comes back, it's just an absolute farce because, like I said, Ekitike has been absolutely world class. He's been by far our best signing this summer, which has gone really under the radar because he was taken out of the team when Isak started to build up fitness, and I think that was unfair, to be honest. Isak should have to fight for a spot as much as anyone else. Ekitike has been fantastic, and yeah, I just wanted to make that point because I thought he was fantastic against Villa. And even on the broader point, then, like, you look at all of our business, like, Kirkes shouldn't be starting, Frimpong shouldn't be starting, Wirtz 50-50, like, he has been decent, but then we did look better with our old midfield. Ekitike should be starting ahead of Isak, so Isak should be on the bench, or maybe you stick Ekitike on the left. But just there's so many of our big signings there just haven't clicked, and I don't know what the solution is. Like, are some of them going to be a flop? Are some of them just going to take more time? I would probably err on the latter there and say that they will come good, but they need to be integrated slower because I think we try to change too much too quickly. Losing Trent and losing like Diaz, Darwin, Jota, like it's a lot of change in a squad, and then to try throw in 4 or 5 new players into a starting 11 with a slightly tweaked system as well. It's too much. So from here on, I'd be saying, look, Ekitike is number one striker because he has settled in. He's looked good. Mamardashvili fair enough in goal when Alisson's injured. But outside of that, maybe put Wirtz in for McAllister and have Gravenberch and Szoboszlai behind. But I wouldn't be starting Kirkes or Frimpong in all honesty. And like I said, I wouldn't start Isak ahead of Ekitike. But the fact that we look so much better without a lot of the new signings probably says a lot. And like I said, I just think we need to transition a bit more gradually rather than a big jump where we throw in 4 or 5 new players. So let me know what you think on that one. I'm sure they all will be a success ultimately at Liverpool, but for the time being, I'm happy to stick with what we know, slowly build up these players, and then yeah, hopefully by the end of the season we're raring to go, and then next season we make a big push for everything once everyone is settled in. That's all from me this morning anyway. Like I said, we will be recording the podcast in the early afternoon, so that will be out at about 4 or 5 p.m. So keep an eye out for that one. Craig will be live then, of course, at 8:45 tonight, and then tomorrow we have the Madrid game tomorrow evening. So we'll be live from 6:45 for that one. Be sure to join us. Hit the like button before you head out. Hit the subscribe button if you're new, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you very soon.